a lot of you actually know that I now have a podcast. Just check on the description box below that. I try to stay away from titles. And I'm actually low-key kinda contemplating changing. A love that is able to look into the future and connect with who you can become. I try to stay away from titles. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Rutendo Melody Kanguru, and as promised, we are doing the month of the subscriber, where you get to ask me a question, because I know that we have a lot of new subscribers on the channel. Thank you so much for giving so much great feedback on the previous question and answer. If you haven't watched that, I suggest that you go watch that before you hop onto this video. But today we've got new questions, and let's see how many we can answer today. Let's get right into it. I have what I call an inner circle, and in my personal space it's 3 specific women. So I've got Nyasha, who is the bestie, and then I've got Clara and a good friend of mine called Maybe, who is currently residing in Zimbabwe. So this is the inner circle. It's the closest. It doesn't really change with location. I don't know if that's even possible. Like, who's your bestie, and does your bestie ship change with location? Comment below and let me know. Some of the women that are really doing what I absolutely admire are Sarah Jakes, Heather Lindsay. There's this amazing woman called Chanel Cooper Sykes. There are so many people that I listen to, and I think it also depends with what exactly I'm working on at that moment, because if it's worship, then I absolutely love Kim Walker. I am a massive fan of Sinach, and Jenny Johnson too. I think she's incredible. I think Bethel worship is ridiculous amazing. I've got different inspirations for different portions and different compartments of my life. Who are your inspirations? Yeah, share with me, let me know. My favorite book in the Bible has to be the story of Hosea. I think it is such an incredible and powerful depiction of a love that is truly unconditional. A love that is willing to look past who you are right now. A love that is able to look into the future and connect with who you can become. And a love that is still willing to love you right now as you are. If you guys know about typology, you know that this book is a depiction of how Christ loved us while we were still out in the world, loving and giving ourselves to other gods and idols and other forms of worship. But yet still Christ loved us, Christ pursued us. And I still remember that the second sermon that I ever preached in my whole life was on the story of Hosea and Gomer. And that was also the very first ever sermon that yielded a soul. Very, very sentimental, the book of Hosea. For me, there's certain things that have happened in my life as a woman that I don't wish to see happen to anybody else. And I think that keeps me really encouraged when it comes to creating content that helps women to stay connected to the source. I get messages sometimes from young women who've been through stuff and they are about to give up. They're ready to tap out. And when I imagine that that person that's had the boldness to send me an email is probably 1 in 100 of people that have not had the courage to reach out, I get inspired to do some of these videos that I do. Just looking at a dying world is motivation enough for me to just continue to be some form of light. So let me actually clarify a couple of things on that one. Thank you very much for asking me that question. Because a lot of people actually assume that I am the teacher, and I'm not a teacher. Maybe I'm low-key, maybe he'll tell me one day. I I'm not a teacher. I am a woman that has a voice, that believes God has given them a platform and given them a commission to speak. I try to stay away from titles. I am not a teacher. The teacher in the teacher show is actually Jesus, because scripture actually calls him rabbi, which was a name that was given to teachers back in his days. So the teacher show is actually Jesus show. And to be honest with you, it didn't come in a dream, it didn't come in a vision, it wasn't a spiritual thing, it was just a name that worked in that season. And I'm actually low-key kinda contemplating changing it. I have been really wanting to change this YouTube channel to House of Hosting Heaven, and a lot of you actually know that I now have a podcast. Just check on the description box below. That is really, I'm loving doing my podcasts. I called my podcast House of Hosting Heaven, I think because the burden was just weighing upon my heart so heavily. So I'm still contemplating and praying about it. But what do you think about the name House of Hosting Heaven? What do you think? Let me know, what are your thoughts on the name House of Hosting Heaven? So I've actually shared this story before. I had a blog, and it started as a blog, and the blog then became the Teacher's Kid, and then the blog, which was the Teacher's Kid, then needed somewhat of a visual platform as well for people that are not readers, and that's how the Teacher Show was birthed. You should go check out that blog. Link will be in the description box below. I blog less these days. I should go back to blogging. I try to stay away from titles. I made this prayer to God, and I said, God, I want you to take me the furthest that you can take me without a title. I just really believe that titles are limiting. Titles are boxing. Titles confine you. And once you give yourself a title, you can't untitle yourself. You can't reverse a title. And one of the mysteries that's actually connected to titles is that there is a certain level of spiritual warfare that follows a title. So many people don't get that. I want to go as far as I can go without any titles. I just want to be melody. I want to be accessible. And I want to do the function of a title without having to have a title. So 5 years from now, I'm trying as much as possible not to box myself and say I'm going to be a speaker, or I'm going to be a writer, or I'm going to be a teacher, or I'm going to be the P words, the pastors, the prophets, all of these names that have the hype in the season. I just want to be melody, and I want to be a better melody. And I want to be moving at the speed of the Spirit, because wherever he's going to take me, maybe he's not even going to make me any of these 3 specific things. Maybe he wants me to be something different. Where the Spirit leads, I am going. Listen, if you are an intercessor, I've got a prayer request concerning my taking my phone onto my prayer altar. Listen, this is one habit that I am still trying to work out of my system. There's always something in here that can help me on the prayer altar, so to speak. But when I get there, I find myself distracted. So that's one habit that I really need to get out of my system. So please stand at the gap and pray for a sister. I need your prayers, saints. There was a number of questions that were connected to relationships, and I wanted to do a separate video on relationships because I felt like it was such an important topic. So I just made a decision that I was going to make a specific video for relationships. I've been missing in action for a bit because I was actually doing my book launch in Cape Town. Great success, absolutely blessed with such an incredible time. And if you didn't know, I have a book called Hosting Heaven, Learning to Hear the Voice of God for Your Life. you should get it on Amazon, Kindle, or iBooks. And if you're in Cape Town, I actually have hard copies, so contact me, call me, send me a message on Facebook. And those were the questions for the day, guys. Thank you so much for popping in.